I do find actually that when I've actually edited them all together, I often find I'm doing little bits of shuffling and shifting a little bit just to make it sound a little bit more accurate still.
Yeah.
So it's a good starting point.
It is
to have that big clap.
I'm sure when they did long form film, they would have had the similar.
Well, they had these things called clapperboards.
They weren't perfect
for a reason.
They weren't perfect.
No one's perfect, John, apart from you, of course.
I wish.
Welcome to the Graphters podcast.
Hello, John.
Hello, Gary.
How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing well. Look, we're back in our usual surroundings. At least I am.
This is interesting. Yeah, it's nice to have you not communicating via two mobile phones tonight.
Shall we put that down to experimenting with science?
I'll tell you what, actually, John. It wasn't anywhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be. There was some serious popping going on, but you know.
Well, I didn't have my pop guard.
No,
I didn't have my pop guard. Didn't have my stenizer either. So it was.
Yeah, but no,
I felt
a
little light. Yeah.
No.
How are you doing anyway? How's your week? Well, it's nearly a fortnight really since we last spoke.
Well, I sound less like a bronchial Barry White, which is always a plus. There's a little bit still there, but I've got a little bit. It's become an old man's doctor medical podcast for men around 50. I've got all my own teeth, you know. I stopped falling over. I now just have a fall. It's just ridiculous.
That's definitely staying in.
Basically, I've gotten to the stage now where when I cough, I don't cough anywhere near as much as I did, which is going to make the editing of this so much easier. And when I do cough, it's a bit of a rack, and there's a lot of phlegm. So, which is good, which means it's all shifting.
Do you know what, Gary? Though I think you're missing a tutorial on GenVFX for using. As he sprays the microphone with Beck's Blue.
You leave my none up there alone.
I do think that you should be showing people how to use DaVinci to do professional podcasts.
Do you know what
like we do?
Do you know what? It's crossed my mind, but there are people out there who are already doing it. So
I'm sure they are because you didn't look at their videos at all, did you?
No, I didn't actually.
Exactly. So you should be doing it. I couldn't find any.
No, all right. I just assumed. No, I
never assume. It makes an ass out of me and you. No, never assume. It makes an ass out of me and you. Assume. Yeah, you and you.
Anyway, so yeah, it's been. But apart from that, it's been a good week. Work's been really, really good. I know your work's getting better, isn't it? It feels a bit more. You feel happier at the minute, I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's nice, yeah. And of course. And I'm not going to completely destroy this by anyone who's watching this in the winter, but right now I'm roasting. So it's really lovely.
I can't believe we're on the second heat wave of the summer.
It's great.
I mean, what is that about?
It means we've actually had 2 summers.
We've had 2 summers. Is this
rather
the summer
than the
that
3-day stretch and then nothing?
Yeah. Is this referred to as I remember in the 70s? So don't judge. But was this the Indian summer? Do you remember? You used to get the
Native
Indian
American
summer that used to come in the September summer, as they used to say.
No, the Indian summer is September. We're in August, mate.
Yeah. I forget where we are, to be honest.
Don't worry. I always remember that because I had a wedding anniversary and both of my daughters are born.
One thing
in
I
September.
have discovered since I left education last year is I've lost those anchor points in the year where it's completely mental and your brain is like frying. These are the September starts, the run up to Christmas, the student drop off after Christmas. I can see our guest nodding away, and we will get to our guest there. And of course, then there's the run up to summer, which is get the bloody work finished and over the line. Frets and hair. I've lost all that. I've lost all sense of that.
Sounds quite nice, actually. Yeah,
I've loved it. It's been like a 12-month holiday.
Yeah, because of what most of the stuff that we seem to do now is mostly drama. It kind of like rolls over each other. When I was doing much more sort of like advertising-based work or main commercial work. I found myself always like September would be when we started doing all the Christmas ads, and January was always quiet. So there's always like that's kind of how I remember it being. Anyway, we're going on a bit too much. I think we need to stop, and I think we need to introduce.
We're a three again tonight.
It's nice, isn't it?
It is because I did find that it was a lot of. it was great to talk to you one-to-one, mano a mano, but
Easy.
We do that so many times, and I think we did miss that extra flavour of umami that comes from having a guest.
A soupçon of something more.
There we go.
And a amuse-bouche for the brain, ish.
So I think we should ask our guest, who's been tittering away in the background as we've been trying to cobble together this intro. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Neil Gallagher, and I'm the Senior Lecturer for 3D Animation and Games Art at the University of Hertfordshire.
And we're very pleased to have you.
Coming into my 15th year now. Thank you very much. Very nice to meet you both.
The award-winning University of Hertfordshire. You know, I've got a photo of actually the cabinet. That's got
it's
all
got
the
such a
awards in
reputation.
there.
Yeah.
It's absolutely brilliant.
No, really
thanks, guys. Yeah, just keep pushing along for the rookies and the Tiger and all these other competitions. Just
And Grads in Games.
Grads in Games. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Not that I'm sponsoring it at all this year, but yep, definitely Grads in Games. No, it's great to have you on, Neil. And we've known each other for a couple of years, and I think over the last year we've sort of really clashed on a few sort of forums, which has been brilliant. Not clashed in a negative way, but
it didn't sound positive.
Seeing each other.
We
and
clashed on a couple of forums.
No, that didn't. Yeah, we've reconnected on forums, and I had the pleasure of coming down and seeing your students do their graduation event, which was the end of year event with their showcase of work. I have to say that was phenomenal. It was absolutely the way the whole thing was put together. It was absolutely brilliant. And one thing that I really, and I think I said this to you on the day, I was amazed at the diversity that you had in the audience of everybody. There was just somewhere from everywhere. There were, from different countries and different backgrounds, and everybody was supporting each other. It was so nice to see. I know we were coming off the back of COVID, but wow, what a buzz. I was buzzing for a week after that. It was like, when's the next one? It's a year.
It is a nice event.
Right.
We try and sort of set the whole event up that it's we have a bit of it, because the course has like four main courses, I suppose. So you've got games art, then we've got the VFX element, 3D animation, 2D animation, the concept art and comics. And so we just try and sort of cross-fertilise. I probably might miss someone out there. Try and cross-fertilise ideas and just sort of... and then when we showcase it, it's not just like games art, then draw a line, then it's visual effects, draw a line. So we just sort of show one of each. And when we have industry guests as well, we sort of try and mix it up as well. So it's not all just like the same talk. So we have the different disciplines in. There were
so many students, though, that worked on different productions, which was so nice to see. We saw people in different categories, but on different productions. Some of them were their own work, but then some were supporting other students to make a bigger piece of work. I found that absolutely brilliant, and they knew what they'd done. They pretty much, maybe one or two were a little camera shy, but pretty much to a T, they all wanted to say something, and they were all very positive about their experience. And from speaking to the employers that came in, when we went into the green room and we were doing our deliberations, everybody was so excited about the crop of graduates coming out. I think there were a few hungry recruiters probably waiting in the wings to take a few on, and I have noticed a few have actually joined a few of those companies, which is brilliant. So
yeah. Really, it was. I think it's one of the highest actually. Post COVID, it's really booming. It's like first just employment. It's a really good year.
This is Gary and I have procrastinated quite a lot about education and where it fits in the pipeline for creating the next generations. But I think I've brought University of Hertfordshire up on several occasions of just when you get people doing it right, it's brilliant to see. It's kind of like, yes please, can we have more of that, more of this, and obviously Neil's going, no, I can't do any more. we've got enough. There's too many courses as it is. Yes, what we want is, when we say more, we want other people to learn kind of what you're doing and how you're doing it, or to take a lead from that and build something on top of it. I think that's what we're sort of saying.
Yeah, I mean, we do look around as well. Come the rookies and things, or just finding out how other people are doing it around the world. Because there's some fantastic institutions out there as well. So just sort of like have a good, and some countries just seem to be very good at some things, like France for animation are phenomenal, and
wow,
North America for some of the 3D modeling. So you just sort of like look around those core courses and find out what they're doing and sometimes you sort of try and reverse engineer their curriculum, work out what's going on, and then sort of just have a look and hang out in some of the forums that they're on and just just cross-fertilize ideas really, and then put that to the team. We'll just discuss it. That's a great idea. And we're all externals at other universities as well. So sometimes you just go in and have a look at how things are set up, and then that's a great idea. I plagiarise that one.
I freelanced for 10 years, and during the course of working for lots of companies, 11 years? Companies. But during the course of working for them, that was the one that was probably, for me, it was the best time when I actually learned what I would do and what I eventually did do later on when I sort of like became a tiny little business. Because I could see what was good and what worked and what didn't work. That's really, it makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, moving around. I think a lot of people do move around now. I think in my early career, I just stayed in the same company for ages. But looking at my graduates now, they sort of like every year, it's like ding, ding, ding. You still look at their LinkedIn. But then they sort of stay in this one place and they've learned so much from these different studios. Then they sort of can bring that all to the table. I remember moving to Kuju and suddenly having Scrum management. It's like, my God, this really makes sense, doesn't it? Just having thoughts that you just get rid of all the management structure and you're just talking to anyone, whether it's the sound engineer or the program. And you just finding out what the blockages are, you're just talking to each other, and it's very quick. And then they have the scrums, and boom, it's really it was a clever way of running that.
I was talking to someone today, and I won't go into who they were, but we went out, we had a meeting today, and we were talking about how the digital industry has moved along in the way that one of the key skills now is collaboration and communication as being an integral part of the process of design pipeline, whether you be in the computer programming side of things or if you are in the art, animation, sound, VFX, because they've all got to sort of complement and overlap and test things and break things and come back and then try something else. And this fail culture that I think is quite widespread in media of no one's allowed to fail, I don't believe that exists in our industry, because we test that quite a lot. We test to fail and then we learn and then we rebuild and we sort of build off the top of that. And it seemed like, again, going back to that graduation, that end of year showcase event, that was something where, talking to some of the students, they really grasped that. They understood that and they were quite comfortable with it. They were comfortable to get things wrong and put it right, which is, kind of what we want, really, isn't it? So
to me, it just makes total sense. If you've got a 3D animator, it might be that they haven't got enough work for their own, singular project. So to freelance across a few different projects that suits their style. Or if you're a VFX comper, you can just help on 2 or 3 projects and comp them, whatever the skill set is, really. And if you want to stay on the one project and you really you have this one skill set you really want to push, then by all means stay on the set. I think if you enable the students to do what they really want to do, you're just going to get the best out of them, and you just try and encourage that. I think that's a really important thing as well.
I really hope that a lot of lecturers get to listen to this this podcast, because I feel
all 2 of the people who listen to this. God,
well, maybe 3. I think I might have just doubled it today.
That's not doubled it.
But maths is not my strong point.
I'm very well. If I wasn't before, I'm bloody aware now.
So, coughing. So, Neil, everybody knows how Gary and I got into the industry and where our journeys have been. I mean, we procrastinate about that enough. Sorry, word of the day. I've said it twice now. That'll be the last time.
I'll be editing it out. Don't worry.
Yeah. How did you get to where you are today? What was your journey?
Wow. Okay. So I think back in 1997, go back that far. My showreel went out on VHS tapes.
Oh, brilliant!
And so sent them off in a little zippy folder and just wait for the replies. And then the interviews came in, and I said to my I didn't have a car. I said to my sister, "Can I borrow your car?" It was a Morris Minor. I had to go from Eastbourne up to somewhere near Nottingham. To Rare, and so made it. Then off the back of there were a few. I think it's Team 17 and it might have been EA on the way back. But I started at Rare, and it was just a lovely experience. I started off in the GoldenEye team. They were just sort of winding down from that project on the Nintendo 64. And so they had the chance to sort of show me things. And back in those days, it was sort of like, here's your Onyx Silicon Graphics machine, and
I put those in. I put those in there.
I used those as well.
I did. Yeah, we
TDI
actually put,
Explorer on my IRIX machine. Oh, the old stuff.
but those particular Onyxes came from OCF. Yeah, they were our machines.
We're saying words that kids these days just don't get. They're thinking, what the hell are they? What is this, a kind of Mac?
Yeah. What's a VHS? What's an Onyx?
What's an Onyx?
Yeah. What's a VHS? My daughter said they're 19, soon 20, and 17, soon 18. And I try and explain what a VHS is now, and in the end, I've got a bag of them, a huge rubber bag of them in my loft, and I'm gonna have to bring them down, and so they can see what they are, and they're gonna go, "Oh man, that is so thick." I can hear it now. Dead retro, Dad.
Just on that theme of keeping and retaining digital media, analog media as it was.
Analog, yeah.
I above above my wardrobe space, I was looking the other day and I was thinking, what is all this junk at the top of there? DVDs. I mean, they're all on Amazon. I've got we've talked about this before. I've got every streaming channel there is. I don't need any of those anymore. They need to go off to landfill or something like that. But...
No, kids don't know what they are anymore. It's
well,
I put
mine really like a DVD because obviously they're so used to streaming media, but at the same time, they like the ceremony of a DVD on a Saturday, for example. We'll sit down and we'll watch.
Take it out of the box.
Yeah. And there's something quite nice about it. It's almost like for us relieving the vinyl from the sleeve,
and
placing it gently on the deck and dropping the needle ever so delicately onto top of it.
Yeah, give it the. So Rare, yes. Let's get. Sorry, we distracted Neil there.
Sorry.
So, 1997, Rare, GoldenEye. Woof.
Yeah, so
that was a
great.
big title. So you managed to get your name on the creds?
No, just a junior, just learning the ropes, cleaning up bits and pieces, and it was good for a few months because I had the manual basically. It was like the Maya manual. I think it's like 8 or 9 encyclopedia
8 books like that.
Just going
I've got
through
those in the loft.
Salty the Seal and all that jazz.
Oh my
god!
Wow. Bingo the Clown.
Mel.
Oh god, yeah.
The cowboy.
Yeah, Mel the cowboy. Yeah. Leaving footprints in the ground.
Going through all that, and then they said, okay, so we've got this new game, Jet Force Gemini. Let's you've learned the basics of Maya now, so off you go. Well, it was Power Animator back then, I think.
Yes.
Went over and started on that. Really good game, sold really well, and then off the back of that, we started on Mickey Mouse Speedway.
Yeah.
Then we started on Donkey Kong. That was super cool. Really looking forward to that. And we got some nice bonuses from Rare back in the day. And but we got bought out by Microsoft, so that was the end of the Donkey Kong license. So anyway, that was about in a nutshell. That was about a 6-year experience, more or less. We were working on, I think, it's Save Man Stampede at the time. So I decided, I met my wife, so she was down in London. So I decided, okay, I'll give it a shot. So I moved in closer. I looked around again. I think it was EA, Climax, Frontier, and a few game studios. But it was a company called The Hive. TV commercials said, we'll hire you. So I thought, let's get out games and I'll give this a try. And they were making music videos, adverts, bits of films. And that was good. Did that for a couple of years. And we got bought out by Prime Focus, which they've merged with Double Neg nowadays.
Yep.
Learned loads. I mean, I didn't have a clue when I started. It was sort of like had these kids going, okay, I've got the latest DTS in anamorphic ratio. What should I do with it? And I'm like, blink, blink. What the hell are they talking about? It's like, yeah, no problem. And I'll just sort of like Google it and they're gone. There was a lot of learning. So that was great. Just learning all the rendering process, setting it all up on the servers and everything. And then I went traveling for a year. Went around the world. So that was quite nice. Just around the corner, there was a place called Global Travel. And on my lunch break, you're walking with your sandwich, and I kept seeing all these destinations, and it was like cheap travel. I think it's like they put you on these planes where they match you up country to country.
Yeah.
And it was about less than 50 quid a flight to go like Hawaii, New Zealand, Japan, and so on. And I kept talking.
It's a long time ago, John. It's a long time ago.
Yeah, and so my wife and I, we said let's just do it. Let's just jack everything,
kids,
put everything,
nothing to
put
worry
it into
about.
storage, put the house in storage, sold the house, and we just went, and it was awesome. And then a year later, came back, and so I thought, right, I better go back into the industry. So I went to Brighton to Kuju. I was there for a couple of years, and at some point I thought I'll try lecturing. I'll do a bit of visiting lecturing. So I went to Hertfordshire and a couple of other unis, and straight away Hertfordshire said, "Look, we're going to start a games course. Do you want to run it?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay, let's do it." So I packed
That's
in.
insane.
Right place, right time. Boom. Done.
Yeah.
Did you at this point? Did you have a master's, or was it just a BA? Or
they said obviously I'm going to have to do a master's, a teacher training course, a CPAD course, probably go on to do a PhD, which I've managed to dodge so far. So
give it time.
Keep dodging.
So yeah, and so yeah, this is. I think I'm entering my 15th year now. It's pretty crazy how quick.
So that would have
gone.
been around 2008, 2009 then that you jumped in. That was when I did my teaching certificate.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
A little part of me, well, actually, a big part of me regrets not at some point moving across, taking the leap.
I tried.
Well, I tried.
to get you.
Well, no, well, I would. It was difficult.
I couldn't afford you, but I tried to get you.
I think that's the problem. It wasn't that you couldn't afford me. It was the fact that you reach a point where you have so many bills and stuff, and to go back financially down is difficult. I mean, even though, and it won't take that long to bring yourself back up. It is that, 2 kids, mortgage, blah, 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 blah. You add all these things together and it's like, well, this, I need to have this chunk of money, and you just can't afford to take the drop. So it was a shame. I
was lucky that Joe had just arrived, and we were in a bit of a flux, and my business was just all consuming at that time when I was running 24/7 visuals, and it just became a, all right, it's going to be when we say massive drop, I mean, I went from a 60k a year sort of regular billing income, not an income, but a billing income, to and obviously some good accountancy means that you're keeping the majority of that, down to 17,500 a year, which was a new teacher start wage that's unqualified.
It's a real kick in the pants.
It was, and that's why I went for the management role as quickly as I could. And obviously running your own business, you're used to managing things. So managing a bunch of academics, I thought, what could go wrong?
Everything.
Whew, yeah.
So, if you don't mind me asking, Neil, I mean, I went from games to TV. I went from games and ended up working on a film, but then after that was all TV. How did you find the switch? Did you feel it was that different when you moved across from games to film?
That was quite a big learn, and there wasn't really sort of like much on it. It wasn't any courses or anything back in those days. So it was luckily they had quite a bit of like magazine art for, I think it was Harry Potter. They were doing lots of magazine art at the time, so that was quite a natural fit for me. I sort of sat in and I was doing bits of that, and then there were some other games at Cal. I can't remember what it was now. Time Crisis or something. So it's a bit of magazine art and a bit of DVD cover or game cover. So I did a bit of that, and then some music videos started coming in, and so again just doing 3D for that. And then while that's going on, you're learning all the comping and all these like separate passes and all the terminology and everything. It's like osmosis. You're just picking up everything around you, and just you're just listening to things and googling like what the hell they talk about.
Absolutely.
You're just scribbling it all down. And when you go out for beers, you just learn loads. As long as you're quite honest with all your colleagues, the beer art in Soho afterwards, they just fill you in all sorts of stuff. So yeah, you learn so much.
Was that the Toucan or the Pitcher and Piano?
Toucan quite a lot. Yeah. It's on Dean Street. So yeah.
That'd be the Jon Snow as well, then, I guess.
Yeah, Jon Snow, that's a regular. Yeah. And the Crown 2 chairman was the
Crown of 2. Crown of 2. I forgot about the Crown 2. So when looking at the kids that you're teaching today, I mean, you are teaching VFX and games, and as you said, there's a lot of cross pollination. So do you think it's for students who are freshly leaving education? Do you think that whether they go into games or whether they go into visual effects, for example, do you think they're a lot more similar in terms of compared to how it was? It's a lot easier to go from education into either of them now.
Yeah, the way we've set up the course is that we have each course lecturer has come from that industry. So the VFX guy called Mark Wallman, he runs the.
I know Mark.
Okay, cool. They're both from the film industry, so they look after the VFX and 3D animation course. I'm running. David Tree's joined me now. A guy called David Tree to help with. He's really on the techie, programmy, blueprint sort of side of things, the games design. Mm-hmm. So he's looking after that, and we've just employed a new guy called Malcolm Armstrong, who's really into rigging. So everyone's got their own sort of disciplines. We had Phil Valentine. He used to run a 2D animation studio in London. Espresso Animation, I think it's called. And you know them.
Yes, I remember Espresso. Yeah.
And who else we got? Of course Frank Victoria from Weta. He was the concept artist. Did all the dwarves in the Hobbit, and lots of other stuff. So yeah, each course lecturer is from the industry, and the way we set the course up is that they're sort of like under my wing. But if they really want to do, 3D animation or something, then of course we have electives where they can go off and go and study bits here and there. But they're cool. They want to be a games artist, or they want to be a VFX artist, or whatever. So they sort of sit under these different. They graduate with a BA in like games art and design, for example. But sometimes they just don't know. You know, they think they want to go into VFX or games or concept art or whatever, and then during the final year they just have this little light bulb moment where they go, no, I really want to do something. So I want
to be a groom artist or something, which I think one of your students was a groom artist, and it was like, that's good. That looks really good.
Cloth or groom, it's just so we just say, here's the software, you know, just here's the basics, and then within a few months they're rocking and rolling, and then reach out. We've got a really good alumni called Joe Hobbs, who set up he just put a little tweet out, and he just said basically a lot of people coming to him saying, hey, can I have feedback? And he said, look guys, I'm just like a props and environment artist. I don't know much about rigging and animation. I can give you my advice, but I'm not a professional in this area. So he just said to the industry, look, if anyone wants to help out, give me a name, and when a student comes to me, I'll give them this list. And the list now is like about 600 or so now.
That's fantastic.
So I'm always telling to my students, just reach out, post up on forums, reach out to professionals, see if you can get a mentor, just get as much feedback as possible, and it's a great way of just getting, because what I'm teaching them, it's like I always think of it like stuffing like a squirty cream in their mouth. That's the education. Okay, that's rigging. Here's the mobbing. It's so there's just so much
filling them up.
Digest.
They're just being filled up with. I can just imagine the VFX picture in my head.
One final question on this, just to be sure. So, on a lot of courses, it's at university level. It's kind of like, we'll give you this much. You have to generate this much in terms of knowledge. Is it this? Do you find, is it more knowledge based than it is, here's a little thing I'm going to tell you about, now you go and find out the rest about it? Percentage wise,
it's a tricky one, that one, because it is. I mean, each brief has got what you call the credit. So you have like a 30 credit module, and each credit's worth 10 hours. So we know that a final major project, for example, is 45 credits. That's 450 hours.
Yeah.
So that's a good way for what we call the learning outcomes matrix, the LOM. We can sort of like look, have they put that much input into it? But I think it is. I mean, I think everyone knows really you have to go above and beyond the briefs really if you really want a good chance these days of getting a job. I mean, I say that sometimes people just knock it out of the park, and they do something very quick. They pull something together, they light it really well, and they haven't put the hours in. Sometimes like a music video, it can be quite a lot of planning, and the shot stuff and the comp can come together really quite quickly. Almost get shut down for saying that.
Well, no, but I think that's an expression of it. That's how industry would do it. That's a true reflection of industry. Not we've had this conversation, I think, many times. Maybe not. In a sense of,
it's not always that way, John.
No, but but the expectation from the management, Gary, as you would testify to, is it is that way. I mean, generally, managers and directors and producers say, I want it to be this long, and I want it at this point in time.
Yeah,
they do not necessarily understand the mechanics that go into creating the shot. Sometimes, as Neil's just explained, the shot comes together because elements are just available and there and have been acquired perfectly. and they just seamlessly come together. Most of the time, though, they fix it in post. T-shirt gets put on, and you've got hours and hours and hours of making it work.
Yeah, but that's pretty much in companies where they communicate. It's that whole something that Neil mentioned, which is this sort of like, this Scrum mentality when it comes to getting information around. That actually that's happening more where we are, right, where I am right now. So there's a lot more cross collaboration and discussions, and people have more information than they would have had traditionally. And I think, and so that way, people are kept in the loop. And when a producer says to me, how long is it going to take? And they expect me to answer it straight away, I always just say, look, just give me about 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, just go away and sit down and look at the facts and stuff. And then I'll tell you, rather than me just giving you an off-the-cuff response, which is inaccurate. And then if I'm not sure about a certain thing, I'll ask somebody else. And because of the amount of people in the office, it's not a huge amount. It's not like I'm running around 50 people saying, everybody yell at me. It's,
down tools.
Down tools on it. Big communal get together. No, it's everyone in the corner. Right, come on. I'll give you the wooden spoon. No, it's just that kind of. It's a nice environment for people to ask questions and get information, and then I can go back into after 10 minutes and then say it's going to take us 3 days. It's a nice way, and I think that is more prevalent now than it used to be. Although, of course, you're absolutely right. There are occasions where someone says, oh, crap, we've missed a shot. We need to get this done right away. And then what they do is they say, right, okay, who's the person who's most appropriate in the office who can get this done as fast as possible? So there's still that kind of like, everyone's in it together kind of mentality, which I kind of like.
You can see how I can take the wheels off of this conversation, Neil, at any one point.
I was just going to say, a lot of it is doing experimentation and working out what the problems are, whether it's VFX or games, because you can do a shot, like we said, going back to the music video idea, where the character goes past a bush, for example, and you want the spaceship in the background. Suddenly, you realise when you start doing all the post effects, you realise, oh my god, I really shouldn't have shot that against a tree, or I should have extended that shot up.
We haven't got enough footage in the Y direction.
so when you do that experiment, when you've tried it a few times, that's why sometimes people in the final major, they will nail it. They will do lots of planning, go out and shoot the thing on a really nice Blackmagic camera, and they will just get the shot together really well. And sometimes it can be quite hard because the games people are knuckling down right from the start, building every single element, putting everything, just right into the where sometimes you can just pull the elements together, and it can. Do you
think in the advent of Unreal Engine and Megascans and the libraries that are there, we should be allowing for more of that pull the resource if it's available? Don't remake the wheel. We're talking about metaverse, aren't we now, where we're going into the metaverse of things, and everything could end up being a 3D model. You never have to create another 3D model in you again. Sort of thing.
Yeah, so it's a good subject. I was talking to someone from Supermassive, and they were saying, probably try and get off assets and just go more for the bigger sort of environment, pulling it together, because we would just outsource that stuff to other countries where we haven't really got time to pay someone to build a vehicle, whatever. So so it's I don't know. So it's a funny old process, isn't it? At the moment, it's like I built a scene the other day, and I had this 8 million polygon car that I've been for ages meaning to retopologize, and I just clicked on the nanite button, and hey, I don't need to do it anymore. It's just stick it in UE, but I mean, it's obviously not a very good way of working, but it's just if you want a quick render. So it's a funny time, isn't it? Where you just like in Unreal 5 now, you can just stick in billions of polygons, and I saw a scene the other day where he was rebuilding the Matrix, and he had the pod that Neo's in, and it was I think it was about 80 million polygons, and he repeated it for the whole column, so each column was about 10 billion polygons, and then he duplicated that hundreds of times within this scene. And it's just like, what? And it's like, the frame rate's just chewing it, no problem. This technology's there now, so
it's incredible. It's just incredible.
Yeah, so I've got to work out how. Yeah, this will be my first year teaching Unreal 5, so it's going to be a lot of just talking to industry and finding out what they need, what they want, how to do it. But a lot of people don't know either.
I was just going to say it's a very strange time because when I was starting out around in the 92 when I started, but getting into industry 95, education was only just starting out with Power Animator, so everybody was sort of figuring it out themselves together. So the industry and education was kind of getting along and doing things together and working stuff out. And I think education got a bit comfortable in that period of time and wrote loads of nice, big, juicy qualifications that took years to produce. And then industry was like, no, we don't do that anymore. Now we've got different things. We do it a different way. It's kind of like a renaissance of that period where technology is now going so quick that industry's actually going, whoa, slow down. We're not ready for this yet.
No.
Pandemics almost created this perfect storm of, well, certainly not for hardware, because obviously we've got component issues with the global supply chain. But that's now starting to even itself out. Things are shipping again. New ways of bringing technology to the desktop is occurring. Fringe computing, cloud computing. You no longer have to buy a piece of hardware that sits on your desk. It can be somewhere else. So there's this really weird system of things all coming together, and I think education's got a really big opportunity now to take that front foot again, and so of course, look guys, this is what we're doing, this is what our students have created, these are the next generation of our employees, and they're going to be coming back to I know Side Effects are very excited about a lot of what alumni are doing now as they're leaving and graduating, because they're graduating with Houdini 18.5, 19 in their heads, and lots of this node-based technical problem solving, which is, and we've seen that with Blender. We've got a first mention of Blender. Woo! Yeah, there we go.
And it wasn't me.
Yes.
That's the insane
I was determined
thing.
to get that in today.
I was thinking, I've just, when you started talking just then, all I could hear in my head was Blender, geometry nodes. Geometry nodes.
But yeah, there's this really great opportunity now, I think, for lots of educators to really embrace it and make some new exciting stuff happen for industry, which will be cool. Really cool. Dare I say it, we could have academic channels that showcase student work. Let's commercialize it. Let's do it.
No,
the students should get paid. The academic.
I see. Yes, that's fine. No, that's fine. Don't. I just it's like saying turn the BBC into ITV.
No. Just switch on the BBC for academia. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So maybe that's the thing. And obviously with all the channels like Twitch and YouTube Premium now, you've got all these opportunities to actually do things like that, which is, I think, cool as well. So
yeah. I'm just starting to see companies asking for Blender more and more now. It is becoming, people are switching a lot to it. And I see quite a lot of people I used to know, they're doing the tutorials and making that transition. Guiltily going back to Maya quite a lot to do the odd thing. But
I still use Maya on a daily basis with work. But when I'm at home,
for VFX, you have to. It's like I think it's the whatever industry you're in, isn't it? So it's like, why would you use anything else?
Exactly. Yeah. What I mean is like, if you're doing ArchViz or ArcViz, you are using 3ds Max. If you are doing anything else with TV or anything with games, pretty much these days you're now using Maya. That's it.
Yeah.
But you're right.
The tools are all there, aren't they, in Maya? So it's going to take a long time to make that transition to rebuild. But I do know quite a lot of VFX houses that are experimenting with it. They're trying it out and getting some really good results. And also experiment with Unreal. I saw Digic. I posted it to John earlier. Digic made a beautiful little short animation today. They released in Unreal.
It's really lovely, isn't it?
Isn't that
really lovely? So have they animated it all outside and then brought the animation in?
I believe so. Right. Yeah, you can rig and animate now in Unreal 5.
Yeah, but that dog moves. That dog's animation is just superb,
isn't it?
There's so much you can see. You can see the squash and stretch in the back when it moves forwards and then suddenly stops, and you're like, oh, I love that. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see in Unreal 5 how much better they get the hair, because there was a little bit of you could see the texture.
It was almost like some sort of shadowing, or bitmap shadowing looked back from back in the day.
Yeah.
But no, it's
beautiful.
There's
all these denoisers now in comping, isn't there, that you can alleviate quite a lot of that with as well.
Yeah, there's loads of stuff you can use to clear up all sorts of stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm seeing quite a lot of cool. They render stuff in Unreal now, and then they put on the deep fake the actors. There's some pretty cool stuff. And TikTok get millions of hits doing various things with that. So something I want to experiment with.
I've only recently just been turned on to TikTok, and I have to say, it's destroying my any free time. I have to stop looking at it.
Autodesk have just made a couple of their products open source as well. That's been announced at SIGGRAPH, hasn't it? Which is their RV and Aurora. They've just created.
RV?
They've now gone open source, so that's going to be quite cool.
That's a good thing because there isn't. That's the only good viewer player out there, really. I mean, I love VLC, obviously, but that RV just plays absolutely everything. It's great.
So, I mean, Ask NK did a YouTube video on it as an update recently. I mean, obviously it pings up on my phone whenever he drops something new in, and it's quite regular. So I was quite happy that Autodesk is sort of taking a lead with open source, because they are a big contributor to the open source platform to make sure that things are, keeping the same. So that's pretty cool.
I wish I would release Mudbox. I used to love that program back in the day.
Do you know what? I still think they should have.
We could say XSI. Wavefront.
I was going to say they should have just put XSI and ICE, put that out for free, because I know so many people who would have just Blender wouldn't even be a thing now if Softimage had gone to open source, because everyone would have just gone straight to that. Because at the time it's kind of like it was. ICE was just taking over.
Yeah.
And they're just killing it. They just killed it. Actually, it's ridiculous. But yeah.
Yeah. These things happen.
They do.
Moving on.
Right. I'll put a line through one of those questions.
So best thing you've ever worked on then, Neil?
I don't know. I don't know, because I like some of the latest projects that I've just done. It's much more fun than stuff I used to.
Yeah, talk about those. Yeah, talk about those
yeah.
projects. Yeah. I mean, you've got some exciting stuff happening in sort of your new directional things that you're doing with Unreal Engine. You've already alluded to it slightly about some of the scenes you've created with, big asset libraries coming in from.
I released a pack last year. That was the City Shops pack. That's done really well. So
didn't that get on 80? Was that on 80 level? Did it get mentioned somewhere?
No, it got showcased by Unreal, and that's when my sales went through the roof. I've made more that month than I did anywhere else. I was just like, yeah.
It's like Blender Market, Gary, isn't it?
I wouldn't know. I've got nothing on it.
Oh no, not Blender Market. Blender
It was definitely
Nation.
like hitting the jackpot. That was cool.
It is, yeah. When you see something suddenly pop, it's like, ooh. How do I replicate that?
Yeah, I know. I am building quite a nice hotel at the moment, so I'm trying to build this really nice 5-star hotel. So that's what I'm busy with over the summer.
Are you doing? Is that a modular pack as well? So there'll be
modular pack. Yeah. And all in Blender. So I'm just
thank you.
Getting on with it. So that make quite a nice tutorial for them to do that. I launched a Patreon. So that's movingdungeons.com. So go check that.
Yes.
I'll be writing that down.
That's
links will be in descriptions.
it's going to be a long process, that one. So basically, what that is, it's people who play role-playing games. Super geeky now, but Dungeons Dragons or Pathfinder or anything like that. People normally play on these terrains. They build these terrains. It takes ages building all the grass and trees, or whatever. So now people playing on a flat screen TV, and the Dungeon Master will put that down, and everyone plays on top. So I've launched that. Got my first pack out. So the pack contains various maps, and it comes with like different times of day and snow effects and rain and so on. I'm just gonna start making.
Honestly, it's just another level of, why wasn't this a thing when I was doing Dungeons and Dragons? That's all I can say.
Well, it's going to kill the fact that I'm still going to draw my own.
You can draw your own.
I'm still going to
draw
my own. Although now I want to do exactly what you're doing. You son of a dungeon. Advertising somebody else there.
Maybe one day, certainly with geometry nodes, Neil, you could do things where they could draw on a touchscreen TV and draw out the cliffs and the. Oh, wouldn't that? Now there's a thing. Good, now there's a thing.
And do it in augmented reality. Oh, that would be. It would be like the holodeck in Millennium Falcon. Ooh.
That would be superb. I would love that.
Heard it here first. It's been timestamped. We're all good. We're all equal partners.
We're all on board. I'll sit at the back and just go yes. Yes. No.
So those Patreon I mean, this is all like really at the cutting edge of how technology is being used as a consumer product again, isn't it? You know, it's taking it into a different market space that, you know, maybe people that don't normally sit in front of a screen, now they're sitting on a screen sort of thing, which is, I think it's brilliant. I just love the concept of it. And when you actually see one of these, Gary, eventually, when you look up online on that Patreon, it's brilliant. I mean, it really is. I was like, so good.
I'll check it out. I haven't checked that out, but I'm obsessed with D&D maps, so I'll be definitely looking at moving dungeons.
It's quite good. I set up the TV when I was trying it out, and that's an experiment a few months ago. Put it on the table, put my map down there, and I just, it's that sort of double glance, like, my God, this is actually really good. It really actually works. It's something that's it's tangible. I can do it.
It's great as well, because I should imagine you can build up like layers of information, so that as people pass into an area and they find things, you can turn that bit of information on, I'm guessing. So like...
Oh, yeah. So, that's
like
what
that would be like the Syrian Livingston...
Fog of War.
Yeah,
stuff.
well, I was thinking, Syrian Livingston, you maybe got 4 different button options then that you've got on your laptop that you've hooked up, and you can press one and it reveals another part if they go into the cave system or...
Yeah, because
we're giving him ideas now, Gary.
I need to think about that one.
It's a scrum, a real live scrum session.
Yeah, they're 2-minute loops, so that's the trouble. I don't know Fog of War on 2-minute loops. I'll have to think about that and see if I can look into it, because you probably need to cut the movie down to 15-second loop or something. But anyway, the maps as well. I've got 2K, 4K, 8K, and 16K, and on 16K it's just crazy. You can because you can get 16K tellies now.
Yeah.
And so when you zoom in, it's like blades of grass. It's like I'm gonna have to start putting insects on these blades of grass.
Little bits of dew in the morning and things like that.
It's crazy. So that's what I've been busy with that. So that's and that's quite a learning experience, because you obviously got to do the maps, and you got to do the website. Then I had to learn all the social media feeds, the TikTok, the Twitter, the
Twitch,
while still trying to communicate with me as well, because I was getting. Can we get this podcast going? And I'm really busy, John. I've got a holiday sorted out. I've got all these things to launch. We found a window.
It does sound like you're really, really busy. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and then John and I have been talking about an idea as well.
Have you?
Are we going to mention that or not? Are we going to wait?
Yes, we will. We will. Well, we'll not mention the actual title, I think, because
not the product.
Not the products. No, but it's safe to say that as geeky fans of comics, we're going to do a bit of a Blender Unreal collaboration on something very similar to Love, Death, Robots type of thing. Short 20-second teaser type.
Love, Death and Robots. Isn't it Death, Love and Robots?
I think it's actually Love, Death plus Robots.
I think it is, yes.
Yeah, Love, Death plus Robots.
Yeah, that sort of style. Something
I can never quite remember.
But
Jabiro is still actually, every time I watch it, it just blows me away.
Well, John kept sending me things while I was in Suffolk, and I was twitching, like, oh God, give me a computer, I need to get going with something. Sitting on the beach, like, ding.
Yeah.
I
did have a sort of a it was over the weekend, just in case work's listening, but we were communicating over ideas and things that we could actually narratives and the genre styles of art and how the art might look. It's all got very, very serious very quickly, because I'm a big geek on it as well, and it sort of brought me back to Cool Beans, because when I worked at Cool Beans, I worked with Nick Percival and with Dave Milgate, and these are 2000 AD artists, so it's fab to have comic book artists as former colleagues and managers, and it's just sort of like bit of a renaissance going back there. So thanks Neil for bringing this all back into my eye line, and we're geeking out over Blender again. I'm back on the tools.
I'm going to say it's not like he hasn't got enough to bloody well do already, quite frankly.
Well,
I'm doing less taekwondo lately, obviously for obvious, with coming out of COVID, so I'm not as active in the taekwondo scene as I was.
I miss taekwondo. I got to black tag, and I was on my way to doing a black belt after 4 years, but then that was up at Rare.
I think that We should arrange to do some training and get you over that line and get that black belt and cook him on.
Yeah, it would be good to go back to it. God, blimey, would I be able to stretch anymore?
I was going to say, this is the thing. I'm 2 years away from 2 years after kickboxing, and someone suggested that there's a guy who's just started working with us. He's really great, and he's the only person in the office who knows Houdini, which is even better. And he's been doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
And someone suggested that him and I should have a fight at Christmas. And my first thoughts are, I am so out of shape. And secondly, I'd be useless because I'd be trying to hit him, and all I'd be doing would be basically going for my legs and just knocking me over. So
yeah, I mean, if you've seen any
different
MMA where the BJJ martial artists do fight, striking martial artists, it does tend to go that way. However, sometimes they do get caught and the fight's over. And that's it. If they don't have any, if
they've got no boxing skills, which is pretty much the case, and then you just you hit them once and they're down.
Yeah, guy from End Dreams, Daniel Woodward, that he's one of the learning and development managers down there. So been doing quite a bit of work talking to him on how universities and things can. End Dreams is definitely one you should look at, Neil, if they do pop into your peripheral vision on doing projects together. They've got some quite cool stuff going on.
Just slide into their DMs and then they won't be able to do anything. In fact, they'll have to do it.
Yeah, but yeah, Dan does. I think he does jiu-jitsu. I think it's jiu-jitsu he does. I'm not sure if it's Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but yeah, he's. I think it's a real. It's a sort of a compact ground working sort of scenario. So once they've got you, you're in trouble. You're going. I mean, today he was saying something to me, but we were having a conversation. He said, "Well, watch out! I'll get you in a rear naked hold," and I was like, that sounds really wrong on so many levels. I'm going to keep my clothes on if we're doing any sparring, I'll tell you that much. But I believe it refers to the fact that your neck is exposed. That's the naked part of it. So when they get your neck into a position where your neck is exposed, and then carotid artery cuts off the oxygen, and it's good night. Off you go to sleep.
Yeah.
So
I would like. It's so expensive. There's a club down the road I'd love to join, but I think it's about £100 a month, and it's just a bit too much. I'm doing boot camp at the moment, which I quite like. It's 3 days a week.
I'm going to try and find you a taekwondo school from a British taekwondo school near you. And
yeah, there is one over in Ware actually. I keep thinking of joining. It's just
let me know who the instructor is offline, and I'll have a word. We'll sort that out. What's the worst thing you've ever worked on? What's the thing that really gives you the heebie-jeebie nightmares?
Stuff that never gets approved. There's some things in TV commercials that just, everyone in the office thinks it's great. The manager thinks it's great. The client comes in and just and it's like, it's not what we're thinking. It's not quite right. We changed this, that, and the other. And yeah, that was quite a horrible experience. And then it's like, okay, and it's a Friday. It's like, yeah, we'll be back on Monday to have a look. It's like, okay.
Thanks. Bang goes the weekend.
Goodbye weekend.
Yeah, that happened quite a bit. So that wasn't a very pleasant experience. But yeah, nothing that really sort of stands out. I think my career I was quite happy, everything I had. It just felt like a joy, wherever I went. Rare, I was just like, I was happy being there. I'll clean your toilets. I'm just happy to be in the industry. And then at Kuju, it was the same. It's like, oh, cool, thanks for
Yeah, when I was at Sumo, it was like, anybody need anything from the fridge? I'm going. just to make sure that it's just, I can't believe I'm here. I'm with everybody.
It's such a privilege being in that industry. I think it's just
pinch yourself. I'm working on something that. It's well, for me, it was a reboot of Outrun 2 when I worked at Sumo. So I was working on a game that I used to love in the arcade anyway. Got beaten on it actually the other day when we went to a games festival fair where they had the Outrun 2 machine, and I got beaten by
9-year-old, 10-year-old.
No, by Derek from Radical Forge, Rad Forge. Yeah, he beasted me completely. I mean, once he got into it, he was nailing those corners. I'm just going to put it down to his reaction speed was far greater than mine.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Your moves were more considered. His were a bit more irrational. Is this what you're saying?
I was driving the Ferrari like I wanted to own the Ferrari.
Like you were driving a Morris Minor.
Yeah, joyriding the Ferrari. He was like putting it round on the rails. He was proper.
He was GTAing the damn thing all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right,
see,
okay.
I've missed the GTA thing, so I've completely lost on me that. So the last main question we've got is maybe a big one, but we'll see. We may have already sort of touched on it.
A little bit, I think.
The future VFX education, software, and education-wise, the future. What's your hopes? Do you have any sort of directions that they go?
We're always trying stuff out. I mean, last year we tried. Well, it was 2 years we tried Blender, but the industry doesn't. For me, I don't know. Just the industry's not quite ready. They really want Maya and Houdini at the moment, so we're sticking with that for the moment. But I'm keeping the Blender torch going in the background. Obviously, Unreal 5 is going to be a big part of our future. Obviously Nuke. I mean, obviously need to get VFX lecture into all that side of things. But for games, it's definitely Unreal, Houdini, Maya, Substance.
You're using Perforce as well, are you? You're using Perforce?
No, we're getting some quotes from it. I think there's a contact through you.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to push that. I think going to Unreal 5, this is my first year running it. I think we're going to have to get some sort of version control because it is. Yeah. I mean, I'm doing some experimentation. I've entered a competition today. And first thing I thought, I'll just try this cool new effect. You switch on all the plugins, and then boop, it's gone. It's like, oh, thank God that I haven't spent like 3 weeks doing that because it's totally corrupted and buggered up. And where if I had like some sort of version control, I could just like quickly wind back and then not tick those things that I was trying to push too far. So we definitely need to look into that.
Blender users know that well.
I don't find it crashes that often actually.
It doesn't now, but I mean, it did. It did used to be.
I've always been a proponent of not opening and using an alpha release. I will not use an alpha release. Yeah. I'll always wait till at least it's towards the end of the beta.
What about qualifications, Neil? Where do you see those? I mean, obviously, BAs, MAs, they're very much set as being the sort of gold standard of education. But what about the training styles of where do you see those courses sort of coming in, or
apprenticeships. Yeah, we did look into it a few years ago, setting up apprenticeship schemes. So, I mean, we do get students doing internships at level 2. I think that's a great thing to do. I was really happy to get a Ukrainian student. So she obviously hasn't got home to get back to at the moment this summer. So I was really happy to. She went to K9 Digital, so she's there.
Oh, brilliant!
That was really nice. So if a student can get an internship for hopefully the summer, but hopefully it will turn into a year's sandwich course. Because when they come back from that, they're just like on a different level. They really are like a beast, and they will just like slam dunk their final major project, which is great for us. So if industry can keep promoting that and making a space for internships.
I definitely think they have done that, haven't they? You look at the way that they've changed their HR/learning development managers. Those departments they're bringing in. It does seem that they have listened. And they've
I was speaking to Creative Assembly last week, and they have a new. She was head of educational outreach, which is that was a new position I've not heard of much. And when you start looking around, there's quite a lot for that to tap into. So that would be a great thing if we can keep pushing that rather than I don't like the idea so much of getting an intern when they graduate, so they sort of go into this like intern, it's like below junior sort of intern sort of thing for the trial period for 6 months. So if they can,
it should be while they're still in the course, doing their course, shouldn't it? Yeah. I mean, I'm all for apprenticeships if that can. It's a tricky thing though, because there is a lot to learn, isn't there? So I see it on forums sometimes. I'm not going to go down the educational route. I'm going to just learn it myself. Which is, if you've got the support, your family are happy to support that, and you've got that sort of mindset where you can really go for it. Then I mean, there's no reason why you can't. There's so much help out there and tutorial content out there that you can really. And there's some amazing stuff on ArtStation and so there's some amazing Gumtree content out there that you can download and get it right from so it's really cutting edge. Just on the education side, I mean, just going back to what you were just saying about there are you can if you get the support. I think one of the things that if you get universities like Hertfordshire and others, we won't mention them while you're on here, what they get when they're in a course that understands the pipeline, they understand the industry, they understand the needs, is you get that constant focus and refocus when you deviate away from your learning pathways. I think that's what you're saying, isn't it? If you've got the support at home and you are the type of individual who can self-focus to really learn it, then maybe the education route, academia, is not for you. But if you're anything like the thousands of students that go through the system each year, then you do need someone to keep bringing you back to the centre line and making sure you've met a target and making sure you're moving forward and progressing and not dwelling too long in the doldrums of the million YouTube videos that can happen to you.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much to learn, isn't there? All the different disciplines. I think it's to really encourage students to focus on what their discipline is, where they want, and even what studio they want to end up in, and so they start to sort of tailor their portfolio towards those sort of studios. I think,
and the pieces, the type of pieces that they want to see, because they just need that one good piece. They don't need 30 different small pieces that don't really give a flavour of what your skills are.
Sorry, I'm imagining a student producing 30 pieces. I'm sorry, that's 3 maybe.
Yeah, just three pieces broken down really well is more than enough. I mean, I'm guilty of that. My portfolio is a total smorgasbord of stuff.
I had to break up mine into different things after a while. So here's the motion graphic stuff, here's the 3D stuff, here's the comping stuff. It's just have one. Yeah. You can't use one anymore. You've got to have, just as you say, you've got to specify. You've got to be more specific. But if you've got 3 great pieces of comping, then that's it. Yeah, I think people are made. And don't make your showreels long. Take them away.
Sorry, somebody just dropped some halloumi fries from McDonald's on the desk.
My dinner is literally been going cold for the last hour.
Sorry.
It's fine. Don't worry.
It's all right. It wasn't
microwaves are for.
Okay, so fast. Let's do the fast round.
Are you doing the fast round?
Your baby, this one.
Oh, am I doing it?
Yeah, you do it. You're
right.
better at this.
So generally, what we try and do is do just a quick fast round, just so you basically can only give a quick answer. See how it goes. If you want to elaborate, absolutely great. If you don't want to elaborate, you don't have to. You've heard this before, so you know one of the questions that's coming. So, and actually, for the first couple aren't. Please elaborate. But are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, right. First question. Favorite movie?
Spirited Away.
I would say why, but I think I know why. It's just bloody amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. He's just bloody amazing. I love the director as well. Yeah.
Favorite computer game, or favorite game?
Asteroids.
My word, no. That's going back a bit. That's practically the first one.
I was at Southwold at the weekend, and they had all these old retro arcades. I was like, oh my god, it brings back memories. Just didn't have the smell of tobacco and the sticky floors.
Yeah. And your pockets of 10p pieces. VFX or games?
Games.
Right. When you're working, music, would it be soundtracks or music?
I just Google play something. Jamie Cullum or whatever.
Oh, so you are a lyrics person when you're working?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I don't mind the lyrics too much. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, wow. That's.
I've got a few guilty habits as well. I do play. Yeah, some pretty. If someone picks up my headphones, what the hell are you listening to that for? But yeah, anything. I don't really care.
Fair enough.
Any style of music, I'm easy.
Industry or education?
Education.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm still not quite sure about this one, but it made sense to me at the time. Unreal 4 or Unreal 5?
Oh, Unreal 5.
Yeah.
All day long. Yeah.
Is it? Because I haven't looked at 5 at all. Is it just amazing? In comparison,
it's like a pair of comfy shoes. It's just feels much better. When I go back to Unreal 4, because there's some projects I have to go back for, it feels very sort of like big and clunky, and it's just that they've really cleaned up the interface. On
it's like Blender 2.73 to 2.8. I think that's what it is. It's that
bigger shift
forward. That bigger shift, yeah. Okay. I would have said maybe Unity 3D or Unreal 5. That's what I would have said, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I would have asked that question.
Blender or Maya?
I think I'm going more and more Blender. I do love it. It's like each time I open it, because I did the a bit of Flip Normal stuff last summer.
Yeah.
And coming back to it this year, it's like a comfy pair of shoes. It's just like, oh yeah, and it just sort of makes sense, and it's like moving things around without having to like look for the stupid gizmo. You know, just sort of like
Yeah.
there's so many things that make sense in Blender. So I'm in that transitional period. So but it's definitely. And it's hard because work now, they want to stick with Houdini and Maya, so it's really hard because I'm loving Blender and I really want to push it more. But we're
Let's see what happens with that comic.
yeah. Exactly.
I mean, this is the problem I have because I say we're using it a little bit at work, and we've got a job on at the minute, and we were using this is no longer a quick round, is it? We were using this guy's come in who's using Houdini and he's making something grow. And just literally before he started to go into it, because someone in the office is basically, as again, this whole like Scrum thing, can we do what we need to do? Can we do that in Blender and then pump it out with Alembics? And within about 5 minutes, I'd sort of go, no, I think we could do that way. And the results, in all honesty, I think would have visually been the same as the stuff that's coming out of Houdini. And there's that no cost question, which keeps coming up. You know, if you can do it this way. But at the end of the day, we all know in the office that everyone has got to learn Houdini. And it's a shame, but I think it's imperative we do it the right way for the business.
I think the biggest thing that holds back the industry is there is no support, and there's no network of support officially if it's the fan.
Yeah.
And you can't complete what you're wanting to do in the product, you know, in their product.
Yeah.
Because it's an everybody's product, isn't it? The Blender product is everybody's product. And I think if you're in Houdini, you're inside Effects, and you're inside Maya, you have that level, you have that security blanket, and that's what you're paying for. You're paying for the fact that if it goes wrong, they will fix it. They will fix it for you to get it to work. To be fair to Blender, I mean, a lot of things do get fixed very rapidly.
Oh, they're really good, yeah. And they're
incredibly
proactive
fast
on the forums, aren't they?
Yeah.
But there's no. I suppose the thing is, Gary, if it did go completely wrong and whatever else, whatever.
You're preaching to the converted, dude. I totally understand. You know, in that case, if between Blender or Maya, you're going Blender or Unreal.
Unreal.
Yeah. Okay. No brainer there.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to get into the nitty gritty here. I've got a really important question now, which is custard creams or bourbon.
Oh, custard creams all day long.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. And the more we redid the logo and stuff. And
it looks nice. Got a little bite out of the custard cream.
Exactly.
Nice.
I had to put the bite in because, of course, I was in the artwork. I did the artwork, so therefore I'm biting out the corner because it's the better of the two biscuits. It is.
Although I break the shell open and eat the custard, then eat the biscuits.
I have been known to very gently twist and pull, and
like
then
the Oreo.
Use the top one to scrape off the bottom one. And then hand that
okay, so this food porn section of the podcast, I think we'll just probably. Oh dear me! Well, gentlemen.
I've got another question for you, and this is to me is actually relatively important. Not me personally, but I think it's an important question. Which is, if you could go back and talk to your original self, just as you were starting, what advice would you give yourself?
Just going into Worcester, starting the degree, do you mean?
Yeah.
Or going into the industry?
Worcester.
Oh, okay.
Thinking back at the 3 years you did.
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky. I mean, nowadays I'd say hit all the forums, get as much information as you can, get feedback, post up your work as much as possible, get as much feedback as possible. See if you can get a mentor. But back in those days, there wasn't any of that. It was sort of like, here's the manuals, and off you go. And you had whatever the lecturer knew. And we were just like, it was a really good cohort actually. The class I was with, we graduated. Everyone's done really well for themselves.
Cool.
So we just taught each other so much. We just learned loads. Maybe not party so much. Party a bit too much at uni.
Worcester was a bit of a party place, wasn't it? I realised that when I used to come down and visit, there was a party every night. It
had a really good student uni, and it had some really good. I think just people doing the comedy circuit or the gigging circuit would just have a little break from London and Birmingham and just stop off and have a little bit of chill out. But it was like it was really pumping. Yeah. It was really cheap as well. God blimey, happy hours like 10p a pint.
Don't remind me.
There was a corner shop in St John's where she had the student digs, and you could actually go in and fill up a bottle of Thunderbird. So they had Thunderbird in a barrel, and you just filled it up with with whatever you want. You bought it by the litre.
So you took your red label bottle back, refilled it.
Whatever you wanted. Yeah, you filled it with whatever bottle, whatever bottle came to mind. You could fill it with sherry. They had sherry, they had Thunderbird, and there was another one. It was like this is amazing. Yeah.
I used to brew my own beer, and a party night on Friday nights we'd just fill up the bathtub, and everyone just help themselves with a pint glass.
What a great idea!
Oh, so cool.
God blimey, I really led a really boring life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Neil, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
I'm
Thank you very much for
so
having
glad
me.
you agreed to it. For all those that we have asked before and have still yet to return our calls.
I'm not going to mention David again. David Sturzaker. Even though I work with him I talk to him on a daily basis, he's dead to me in terms of the podcast.
No.
I'm giving up entirely.
Yeah. But it's been brilliant, and it was brilliant to talk about education in a real positive sense, which I think I felt recently. Our podcasts have been not negative, but not as full of of where education is going, what's cool about it, and what's going on. And I'm glad we've been able to get a guest that's done that.
I can totally understand why it's under the microscope, especially the costs it is now.
It is very expensive.
I mean, it was free when I was a kid, and the government gave me $3,000 because I was from a poor family. So yeah, I mean, it's just totally flipped on its head. I can see why it's under the and it looks like going more and more down that American route where it costs phenomenal amounts of money.
Yeah, you mentioned recently, didn't you? In a conversation we were having about a school in America. We won't mention them, but it was in the $100,000 range. It was for their
scary, isn't it?
It is insane.
So yeah, don't give the Conservatives any ideas, please.
No. Well,
or any major government as well. Yeah.
Indeed. Oh, dear.
Sorry.
No. You're absolutely right. No, I think it is. It is absolutely terrifying how much it's going to cost.
You can't change the whole way that you can't just flick a switch on and switch off. So, yeah, I think the good thing that we've gone through tonight is that there's so much cool stuff happening in the institutions that are getting it right, which is good.
And also, Neil, you sound so positive about it. That's bloody marvellous. Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's today. It's my final day teaching the MA.
Oh, that's what it is. You're ready to just go and chill. I mean, it's such a good mood. Bring on the whiskey.
But you build up a big relationship with them. You get to know them really well, and it's really sad when they you really want to keep some of them on because they're producing some amazing stuff, and it's just great to see their skill level ramping up.
With all the social media platforms now, they will stalk you forever.
They probably will.
Well, actually, they know loads about social media. So once I'm going to be, for my moving dungeons, I'm definitely going to be. I've got no clue about Reddit. I look at it, it's like, oh my god, what is this?
It's wonderful. You want to get as involved in as many subreddits as possible, and then you'll never ever leave the bathroom. You'll just sit there on the loo, doing that forever on your phone.
I've got to learn it all because I was saying that how should I approach it? And they go, well, do this, don't do that, and make sure you're in the sub blah blah blah, and oh god, it's like. There's some sort of rules you can and can't do. So it's going to be a learning experience. So I'll be tapping into all their knowledge.
We could talk all night, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Especially seeing as Gary knows how to use a microwave, so he can warm his food up at leisure.
It'll be fun.
I do have to prepare my bike for tomorrow. I'm cycling tomorrow for charity St Albans, so I've got to get that prepared, and it's pitch black outside.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, best of luck.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, if you see someone that's gone diverted and is in a blue top and look completely fried,
can we track you on some app or something?
Yes, I will send you. Right, I'll send you my Strava.
I
will send you my Strava, Gary.
Thank you very much. That will do the job.
Yeah. You can look after me. He stopped for about 18 minutes. What's going on? Yeah, so we'll wind this up. So
very nice meeting you both.
Thank you very much. Honestly, well, you know him. You know him downstairs. It's us two at the top. You see, up here on my screen, it's us two at the top. It's more important.
Yeah.
But
upstairs,
thank you.
I know my place.
I look up to him.
I look down to him.
No one else is going to know what the hell we're talking about.
No.
So it's I say Neil, thank you very much for coming on. It's lovely to chat to you, and hopefully we'll speak again. That'd be cool.
Yeah. And I'll plug my contacts to come over to you guys because I've got some amazing alumni out there. So.
Yeah, that would be really, really good. It's nice having some people in industry and some people in education to try and get that kind of balance for how things are going. And as long as we can keep up all this dialogue and keep talking about this, hopefully people will take more interest and get more involved in the whole thing. Because obviously what you're doing at your place is working a treat, which is having proper industry people front and centre in front of the students.
Perfect.
Bottom line, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And you don't stop on your private, your own personal projects. That's the other cool thing. You're constantly testing yourselves, which is brilliant. That's
absolutely. Well, people in industry,
I think it's the best way of learning software.
Yeah,
I think
it is.
You just there's like 101. Yeah, I entered a competition yesterday, and it's like one thing after another. It's like, how do I fix that? It's like quick 5-minute tutorial. I'll get back on it.
Yeah.
Otherwise you just sort of stick to the thing don't you? Just like go over it again and again. So yeah.
So Gary, that brings us to the end of a rocking podcast.
It's definitely stopping me from talking and carrying on because I know I can. So let's.
I know you can.
I can't help myself. No, it's gone really well. I'm really pleased with that. That Neil guy's all right, isn't he?
He's
oh God, is he still on? I thought he'd off. No. No, it's always, as I say, one thing we've always found is we're always better when there's three of us.
Yeah.
The power of three. It's like we're on Charmed.
Right, so I'm going to stop all this recording stuff then.
Yep, you just stop.
Yeah, so stop it in a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's thank you again, Neil. Cheers for coming.
You're welcome.
You can, and it's a good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
And it's good night
good night from them.
Yes.
And it's good night from them.
Right. Take care. See you all soon. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
This work is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 4.0 International License. Any opinions stated during the course of this podcast belong purely to myself and to John and are based at the time that we record this. The theme music is My Everything by DJ Quads. If you like that, and I'm sure you probably did, there is a lot more of his great stuff which you can find at soundcloud.com/DJ Quads, or his music is also promoted by www.free-stock-music.com.